Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. I am back. My name is Raylene. I'm your host on Kopi Chats. So today, after a long hiatus of many months, I'm back to talk about all the fascinating news. And today I have a great piece to share with you because I had a realization, an epiphany even, and it was as I was reading today's news for you. Check this out. Politics, cash, fame. What motivates climate change deniers? Donald Trump. Wow. What a way to start to restart this podcasting that I'm doing. So, this has got to be good, right? So, you think, oh, wow, this looks spicy. It's very, very spicy. It's going to be about politics, cash, fame, climate change. Wow. And with the orange man, the evil, evil orange man. And guess what? This is such hot news. It's not only on, Singapore's Straits Times. It is not only on Malaysia's The Star. Same title, yeah? Politics, cash, fame, what motivates climate change deniers? It is not only on, okay, wait. So this is slightly different. Climate change disinfo surges in denial. Conspiracy comeback. Also about the climate. And I will show you that it's written by the same author. How? Look, here it is on the Jakarta Post. Climate disinfo surges in denial. Conspiracy comeback. And there you can see it's the same title. Who is the author, you might ask? Mr. Roland Parry. And who is the author here? Mr. Roland Parry. Mr. Parry, you are a busy man and also a very popular man in Southeast Asia today because not only have you made it to Singapore's news, you made it also to Malaysia, to Thailand, and even to Indonesia. My, what a busy boy you've been. And talking all about the hottest, no pun intended, hottest issue of the day, climate change. So, here's Mr. Roland's Twitter account. Sadly locked. I can't see what he tweets. Why wouldn't he want me to know his tweets? I have no idea. Here he is. He's the AFP climate fact check journalist. And you may think, wait, Waylene, I'm a savvy newsreader. I know that news organizations frequently syndicate news from AFP or the Associated Press, the AP, So, why, this is no big deal. Maybe, but to me, it is rather rare that you'll see the syndicated articles appear almost simultaneously, and not just one article circulating around, two articles circulating around, and also typically you would expect that if it was a hot topic like there was a natural disaster, major natural disaster. Okay, everybody would draw from the same source. Just take it from the Associated Press or AFP and report on it. Fine. But I think this climate change thing has been going on for some time, hasn't it? So what's so special that motivates newspapers in 4 different countries to publish at the same time? Let's just have a quick skim, shall we? Right-wing ideologues. We start here with the Straits Times. Right-wing ideologues funded by fossil fuels, blah, blah, fame-seeking narcissists. Wow, look at it. Straight away, grabbing you by the throat, straight away to, stir things up. You should be outraged and angered by these people. Experts interviewed by AFP outline 6 key things that motivate people to deny climate change. Oh, evil, evil. Oil money. Are you taking oil money? Do you or someone you know take oil money? No idea. So, anyway, it's not important. Until it gets to about here. Monetizing. There are individuals who blah, blah, blah benefit from economy online, blah, 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 allow them to monetize climate denial and climate disinformation, said Jenny King, head of civic action at the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, a London-based digital research group. Now, I want you to remember this name, okay? The Institute for Strategic Dialogue, or ISD. Okay, so ISD is one. Now let's move on. Another expert is Stefan Lewandowski at Bristol University. I don't actually care about him because you just need to care about the ISD. So there are experts from Monash University, founder of Skeptical Science, a popular website, researchers at City, University of London, and so on, University of Queensland. Look at this. Look at the number of experts. It's unbelievable. Who would not believe this article? Who could fail to be convinced? Look, they even have a cute skeptic blog. What's up with that? With such a cool name, clearly targeted at the millennials, Gen Z, right? So how could anybody find any reason to disagree with Mr. Parry? Now, why did I want you to remember the ISD in particular? It's because, let's see, we go on to the second article, which starts, false information about climate change flourished online. What really surprised us this year was to see a resurgence in language like that, said, Jenny King, from the Institute for Strategic Dialogue. But wait, Waylene, you might say, you savvy newsreader, you. If Roland Parry had, interviewed this person, Jenny King, for, an article, he could use it for the same article, right? A different article on the same theme. Why not? Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Just want you to know that this ISD is appearing more than once. Now, we'll go ahead and skim the rest of the article. So, blah, blah, blah. Let me expose what this climate scam is actually all about. All right, by U.S. nonprofit Advanced Democracy. Okay. Then here we go. City University of London, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Then they quote something called the CAAD. I don't know what that is. There's a group called the Center for Countering Digital Hate, blah, blah, blah. Center for Countering Digital Hate. There's blogger Tony Heller, blah, blah, blah. Steve Milroy. Let's see. YouTube spokesperson Elena Hernandez. And then we're back to Jenny King of ISD. So what I noticed was that there are some differences between the panel of experts for Article 1 and Article 2, but the main, I think, expert whom they're relying on is the one with the most quotes in both articles, which I think is unquestionably Jenny King from the ISD, right? So what does this mean, Waylene, right? So Roland Parry spoke to someone he trusts and then made her comments the foundation of his article, or two articles that got widely distributed. In fact, it's so wide, I have found this article on other big websites. I'm going to show you briefly. Now, Roland Parry, there's a website called Muck Rack that will allow journalists to post their latest works so you can see, what they've been up to professionally. It's really good. So check it out. Roland Parry is published on phys.org, which is, I think, a website for physics news. Here, Climate Disinfo, Politics Cash, phys.org, Newsbreak. I think it's fairly popular, but it's popular among news geeks. Barron's, also a very popular website. International Business Times. Oh, yeah, that's also pretty popular. I think some people would have heard of it. And goes on. Okay, so these articles have been getting a lot of circulation. And yes, going back to what does this mean? Well, isn't it a little bit odd, at the to say the least, that this Mr. Roland Parry's articles, normally on an evergreen topic, like climate change, it will just, you'll see the occasional occasional article pop up. But what escaped our notice is that the same talking points or the same perspectives are often pushed out in like waves, right? So now we're talking about surge in climate disinfo, and then for the coming week you may hear more about surge in climate disinfo. It's almost as if, oh, like a fad, but this fad is not exactly something that you want to replicate. Like if there's new shoes going around that everybody's wearing, well, you want to wear it because it looks good, right? So that fad has an organic element to it. Or if everybody loves bubble tea, you try it, you like it, and then you drink bubble tea, people see you drinking bubble tea, and that's fad. But nobody goes around talking about climate change and the disinfo around climate change, or not generally anyway. So this doesn't come across as a fad in that way. It seems more likely that it's organized, right? You could be a group of journalists talking among yourselves, and it might be trying to pitch stories to each other. You might be saying, "Hey, I got a big story coming up. I'm Roland Parry. I spoke to the ISD, and they have a big report coming up. I got some quotes. I'll push it all to you next week. If you like it, please publish it. Or if he really wants it to spread, you may try to pull some favors, right? And then you get widespread publication, right? Widespread circulation. And maybe you think, I don't know if that's really how it works, which I would say is you're right, it's your right to be skeptical. I'm not in the media business. I don't, but the funny thing that perhaps we should think about is that, how exactly does it work then? How exactly does it work? Because from the outside, you can only observe what, is released to the public. And what is released to the public has the organization and the consistency of something that looks deliberate, very deliberate, right? All around, all on the same day, all on the same topic, coming from the same guy, quoting from the same source. And now at this point you may ask, okay, I get your point, and I'm willing to think about it. Hey, can you tell me more about this ISD? Like, what is this ISD? Okay, let's start here. So the Institute for Strategic Dialogue is clearly very influential organization, because check this out. This website is dhs.gov. That is the Department of Homeland Security of the United States, right? And they have a policy briefing being conducted by the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, it appears, right? Talking about, what are they talking about? Right, appeal of extremism online. Now, do not be confused between extremism and terrorism. Totally different things. Extremism is, not quite the same, it doesn't have to involve violence. I think it would be a nice way to say it. Doesn't have to involve violence. Can just be, see, they make a distinction. They're extremists and they're violent extremists, right? But the two are easily confused or conflated, if you're particular about your phraseology. So extremists can be people who spread COVID misinfo, for instance, right? Those can be extremists too. And how do you know? I'm telling you that, yeah, they're very influential. They're connected to the highest rungs of power. And you see, okay, so they've given a presentation to the Department of Homeland Security. That sounds pretty serious. And you're talking about this extremism thing. I think I've heard of this before, in some video somewhere, or I might have glimpsed the phrase somewhere in my local news. Yes, it spreads around. Now let me tell you how connected they are to governments. Here you go. Here is a Freedom of Information request, or official information request, as they call it in New Zealand. So in New Zealand, somebody wrote in to ask, requesting the total amount of money the New Zealand government has directed to the London Institute for Strategic Dialogue per year since there has existed a relationship between them. So the government is obliged to answer this question. And here is the answer. In 2021, the New Zealand government donated to the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, the ISD, nearly 230,000 New Zealand dollars, I reckon. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And that's not all. Who else gives money? Oh, look, the Government of Canada. This is the Government of Canada's grants and contributions portal. They can see how your money, if you're Canadian, you can see how your tax money is being dispersed. And they gave money to the ISD too, to the tune of nearly 400,000 Canadian dollars. Wow, that is a lot of money. And the ISD, in fact, this is their website now, see, isdglobal.org, has a very long list of government and multilateral organization partners. Check it out: Australian, Danish, Dutch, European, Finnish, German, London, New Zealand, Norwegian, Canada, Swedish, Swiss, UK, United Nations, US State Department. So if each of these organizations donate to the tune of a few $100,000, that's a very nice hefty budget annually. And that's not all, right? You can see here they have donations from the private sector as well. Facebook, Google among them, Microsoft, YouTube, right? Okay. Take note of, what it seems like the biggest tech companies give money. Who doesn't give money, right? Think about that. Keep that in mind for a moment. Okay, so oh yes, they also have private funders. In fact, some of the richest who also give hundreds of thousands of dollars. So they are very well funded, very well funded. And take note of their, you may think, wait, I know where you're going with this. You're trying to make the point that, their opinions go a certain way because of who's giving them money. You're saying that somebody's bankrolling their activities, aren't you? To which I would say, yes. Yes, I am. Because it doesn't have to be that somebody, an organization came to you, as on the ISD and said, you have to do these because I'm giving you money. No, it could be the other way around. That is, I start this organization, you like the work I do, so you give me money. But after that, I will continue doing that because I know this is what got your support in the first place. Right. So there you go. And this is reflected in the ISD's own content. So here you go. Here's an example. I did look through a lot of the tweets. I think this is just a pretty reasonable example, pretty representative. RT, the Russian broadcaster, news outlet, Russia Today, has cynically amplified conspiracies throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. Already there's a problem. You know what the problem is? I'll tell you. How do you know that they've done so cynically? You could have just said, RT has amplified conspiracy theories throughout the COVID-19 pandemic. And you could come away from that claim clean, unsullied, untarnished by the use of the word cynically. Because cynically implies that you can read their mind and you know what's going through their mind as they amplify the conspiracy. Which is obviously not the case, right? So that just, to me, that seems like a very clear, demonstration of, their support, where their sympathies lie, right? I don't know if they would. I have browsed their Twitter timeline, and they're very even-handed about many things like French elections, German elections, and does that sort of thing. But Russia, not so much, and some American leaders, not so much, right? So this is just an example. All right, now you may ask, okay, right. So Waylon, you made your case. I can see what you mean. It's a little fishy that the articles get pushed out there so successfully, so in such a coordinated manner. It's a little fishy. Like, why would it be so coordinated? Wouldn't there be some guys who think, I don't know, Roland, you want me to publish it today, but we got already a full lineup of news that we want to put out there. Let me do it tomorrow or next week. All right, next week. That's the quickest I can do it, because I have to read your piece before I release it, right? I'm the editor. It takes time. But no, seems to go out all at the same time, pretty successfully. Yeah, and that does beg question. And then the organization, while the way that it is presented to us is that it's really fair, independent, balanced. Actually, I saw that in their website. Okay, let's see. Should I look it up? Maybe I should, just to show it to you. Okay, but that means that, okay, I'm gonna pop this into my, can you see it? Yes. The Institute for Strategic Dialogue is an independent organization dedicated to safeguarding human rights and reversing the tide of blah blah blah. Independent, you say? Can you truly be independent if you're taking money from organizations, in this case specifically governments, who, as a independent organization, you should have the capability to criticize them. You should have the independence of mind to say, oh, misinformation is a big problem, because obviously they care about climate misinfo, and later I'll show you that they also care about COVID misinfo, because who didn't care about COVID misinfo? Nobody. But I don't think that they did a good job of turning their attention to all the people who have been involved in the spread of some information that was not so true, around COVID. So, are they truly as independent as they say? I think the answer is clearly not. Clearly not. You're taking millions and millions from governments, private foundations, and I have not found them to turn their attentions to those who support them. So, is this fishy? Yeah, it's pretty fishy. And should you trust them? Well, I wouldn't. I wouldn't, because they do in fact protect the people who donate money to them. It looks to me. You can visit their Twitter account, or check out more of their work. It's very boring. I don't advise it. Twitter account will skimming their Twitter account will do a reasonable job. Now let me show you a little bit about something. Now, the only exception that comes even close to being independent is in their treatment of tech companies. Here you go. See, here's a report about information laundering on Facebook, published in 2020. So, what does it say? This report presents the methodology and findings of an investigation by ISD analyzing a series of Facebook groups and pages that are suspicious, potentially coordinated, and inauthentic. Findings suggest a form of information laundering in which suspect content is posted by small, disparate groups, and then subsequently seed into online communities of real users to sow discord and stoke partisan division along political and cultural fault lines. So shady, so evil. It's all started by small, seemingly disparate groups and pages. Uh, you know, if all of the users were totally authentic, totally organic, not being manipulated, how would it look? How would this same scenario look? It would still look like content posted by small, seemingly disparate groups and pages and then seeded into online communities of real Facebook users. Why? Because that's how information spreads. you have you have a guy, let's say someone like me, you know, I read the news. I have a critical eye. I'm part of some Facebook groups, not all Facebook groups, but maybe I have a good idea. I think that, I have some questions about this, and I post it on Facebook, and then a friend tells me, hey, you should post it over there, where they take this kind of issue really serious. I post it somewhere else then. So what did I just do? If several people around the world, had the same idea, like, oh, I have a certain idea, I think, there's some questions about this, and they all do the same thing. What does it look like? Small, seemingly disparate groups and pages subsequently seeded into online communities of real Facebook users. So, and am I aiming to sow discord and stoke partisan division? Possibly. But it's also possible that I have genuine questions. And those questions, what do they do? They make people uncomfortable, because we've just been through 2 years of having plenty of uncomfortable questions. We did. And if you ask those questions, what happens? Well, people polarize, right? Because some people say yes, some people say no. That's the most natural thing in the world. Is that? And to the ISD, apparently that's unacceptable. That's truly evil. How dare you make people take sides? I don't know. I guess, like professional football, pizza or pasta, your apples or oranges. How dare you make people choose between apples and oranges? How dare you, truly. So this is very strange, right? So you read it and you think, oh, this looks really legit, very serious. But then the slightest nudge, I think the whole concept, this structure of what they're trying to prove kind of falls apart to me. The report illustrates how spam-like networks on Facebook can be used to distribute potentially harmful content across the platform at scale, and is one of the enduring challenges faced by tech companies. Yes. How to determine what constitutes illegitimate deceptive behavior on platforms such as Facebook? Well, who gets to decide what is legitimate or illegitimate? That's a question for another time. But so you get an idea that yes, they can be critical of Facebook, right? And Facebook is one of their financial supporters, right? So independence? Perhaps in the case of Facebook, right? So there, I've given a counter argument in support of ISD. So ISD, do not accuse me of being unfair. Now, I was laying the groundwork actually for something else though. So you see here, that was how they talk about information, misinfo on Facebook. Now, let's take a look at a similar thing for COVID-19 vaccine misinfo. Look, I know a lot of people are moving on from COVID. I think I would like to too, and I just want to mention this because of how it sheds light on the topic of the ISD. Okay, so you think, right? They look like a legitimate organization taking millions of dollars a year and doing a lot of work. We won't say the impact or whether it's effective or whether it's true. Just that they do a lot of work. So they monitor, right? And they do a lot of things, and they write a lot here. Our WHO calls it infodemic. Oh, so terrible. Here, briefings, misinformation about the vaccine, misinformation about the process of vaccine rollout, misinformation about the societal impact of a vaccine. Note how, I don't know, when was this released? 16th February. last year. I'm sure you're aware by now that we know the vaccine does not protect against, does not prevent the spread of the virus, right? So we all know that the vaccine does not prevent spread. So have you heard any change, like how people are talking about vaccine misinformation now that the information has changed? Do the people who said it before it became public knowledge get an apology? Does ISD owe anyone an apology for, maybe inadvertently labeling some people as misinformation peddlers? Right? Interesting question. Now, here's what I want to really focus on: methodology. Now, don't worry, I won't bore you. It's very quick and painless. So how did they exactly do their research on the COVID-19 vaccine misinformation? How did they monitor it? Well, here you go. The super sophisticated monitoring. We began by identifying a comprehensive list of keywords. Whew. So tough. Whew. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Selection was done by this. We aim to include only terms, blah, blah, blah. Very boring. Moving on. We use these keywords as seed list to search Crowdtangle. What? Hold it right there. Now, if you're not aware, Crowdtangle is a very popular commercial software you can use to analyze your Facebook account and other social media networks. I think I can show it to you, right? Yeah. Crowdtangle. A tool from Meta to help follow, analyze, and report on what's happening across social media. It used to be an independent company. Now they are owned by Facebook itself. So you can use, stay on top of stories that matter. Benchmark yourself against competitors. Identify influencers. Right. Discover content. Track keywords. Track links. And let's see. How do I sign up? Can I sign up? Oh dear. Now we have to request access. Okay, now it's a pain in the butt. Formally, you just, sign up, pay, I don't know, $10 a month, and you can do exactly the same thing. You can discover content, track keywords, track links, blah, 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 all that stuff. So it's a commercial grade social media research tool is what I mean to say. It's a commercial grade social media research tool. So this is essentially how ISD Global ran their sophisticated disinformation monitoring, was just to use a commercially available software to track some keywords, because they said it here, we use these keywords. And for that, they get millions of dollars. I mean, they do it. Granted, they do it several times a year, and they have to, of course, be connected to the good people like Roland Parry, who will get them to give quotes and show their reports and charts for the misinformation. But do not forget that this is not their own data. Right? Data is collected using the Crowdtangle API, as if this was not just going into a dashboard and entering some keywords, because that's what it required. That's how the software works. Now they go on, they analyze the data using a bespoke analytical platform developed by ISD and CSM. What is a bespoke analytical platform? For all you know, it could be a Excel spreadsheet, because it is bespoke, so it's custom made. And a platform could be anything. In 2023, platform is absolutely meaningless as a noun. Anything. A train platform is a platform. Software platform is a platform. I could call my table a platform. This is the platform on which I pontificate to the world my brilliant ideas. I'm just trying to put myself in the shoes of the ISD writer. So I do not think that this is a very good quality piece of research, or this is not a very good quality piece of monitoring work, and I would take this and put it right back on the original article. Politics hash fame. What motivates climate change deniers? Guess how they did their research. How did they know that blah 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 is taking place? So yeah, I don't know, right? It seems, let's see. Popular topics include the false claim that CO2 does not cause climate change, or that global warming is not caused by human activity. Oh wait, this is said by different people. Oh, what really surprised us this year was to see a resurgence in language that is reminiscent of the 80s, like climate hoax and climate scam. So, when you see that, you would exactly ask, wow, how do you know this? That's so fancy. Well, you just go to Crowdtangle, pay $10 a month, and you can get the total number of times this is mentioned per month. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So, once you know that, though, it's a lot harder to take the claims of the ISD people seriously. And if you read these articles, despite the rather light nature of their research, the language they use is calibrated for like maximum emotional impact, like to really make you feel to really despise those climate deniers, and what else do they call them? I forgot. Right-wing ideologues, fame-seeking narcissists. Right. I mean, sorry, this is not by ISD, this is by Roland Parry. Oh, yes, and then about Roland Parry. So, I forgot to mention that, so, Mr. Parry is the climate fact-check journalist. So, in order to assess, the truthfulness of these, the science of climate change, a scientific endeavor with metrics and scientific modeling and predictions, and things that are true and things that are false. It's my cat. You would expect that you need to have some technical understanding. He's an author and literary translator. How nice. So, what is he doing? I don't see how I can take what he says seriously. I mean, there is, so I'm not saying that you can't be an intelligent person, you can't be smart, and because, well, if you're working for the AFP, you're probably pretty smart, right? Yeah, I suppose so. But is it the right kind, right? If I'm good at literary analysis, let's say I'm excellent at reading classical texts and uncovering the hidden meaning behind work, analyzing the themes, analyzing the characters, their motivations, why they do what they do. Does that put me in a good position? Because that requires a great deal of intelligence as well, no doubt. Does that put me in a good position to understand climate science? Because obviously a literary scholar can't do an engineer's work. Not to say he's not intelligent, it's just that he's not trained that way, doesn't have the actual knowledge. So why would the AFP put Mr. Parry in charge of the fact-checking climate science? He's no doubt very good at his work because you have just skimmed the article that I showed, the two articles, and they're good at making you worked up about the climate deniers. But as to is he actually checking the science? I don't know if he's capable. So here, let's just take a quick peek at the AFP fact check website where all this work is. This is all his work, I believe. Yeah, you can see in the URL. It's here, Roland Parry. So it goes, video misrepresents UN panel's global warming projections. So that's got to be fact-checking some horrible video. Graph on polar bear population uses unreliable data. So obviously, yeah, you can see from the picture, it says there polar bear numbers increasing. Obviously, it's not some there's some source that says that polar bear numbers are going up and uses unreliable data. Well, and bear in mind that Mr. Parry is the one checking. How does he decide what is reliable or unreliable? Or does he have to find an expert every single time, when he wants to fact check? And then, once he finds an expert who says one thing, how does he know that he has found the right expert with the right opinion? Because remember, we just been through 2 years of COVID hysteria, and you could find doctors on both sides of the equation on any COVID topic. Masks, social distancing, vaccines. You could find them on both sides. Granted, for the most part, all the professional journalists like Mr. Parry came down on one side. Sometimes they turn out to be wrong, right? So we've already seen that, because at first we're told that vaccines will prevent the spread. Did not. And then what was it? Herd immunity, is important. We must work to achieve it. And then in the end, do you know of any country that achieved herd immunity and therefore was protected from the virus? No. Turned out it wasn't a thing. It's okay. If you don't disagree with me, that's fine. If you have a source, put it in the comments below. I promise you'll read it and I will respond accordingly. But I don't recall seeing anybody reaching herd immunity. So Mr. Parry is clearly, his organization, the people that, the industry that he works in has been found to be on the wrong side, because everybody has been on the wrong side on some of these issues. I would be very hard to convince that, there was anybody who was 100% right all the time on every single issue from start to finish about COVID. So, coming back to Mr. Parry, how would you know that you found the right expert who actually knows the truth and is giving it to you straight? Right? He's not in a position to assess if the information he's been given is accurate, because he's not trained that way. And yet AFP finds it acceptable to put a literary translator in charge of fact-checking climate science, which we are told is one of the most important things to the human race right now, because this could wipe us off the face of the earth. So AFP, perhaps, this really should come to you. If this is in fact as severe as you claim, it's so urgent, it's so serious, why do you not fork out the budget to hire, a scientist, or at least a writer with a science background, to write on this topic? Isn't that strange, dear viewer? Think on that for a moment. So, all right, guys, that's all I've got for you. I've shown you a little bit about, the articles that are trending. Why are they trending? It seems very organized. And then you saw me talk about Roland Parry, his background, the way he writes, is it credible? What is the weakness of AFP's choices of writer, and then what does the ISD do? Who pays the bills for the ISD? As a consequence, where do ISDs which way do their opinions go? Well, clearly their opinions are going to be pretty aligned with the German, Finnish, Swedish, New Zealand, Australian, American, UK governments. And what do you know? It was. So, can you really trust them? Are they truly independent? Right? So you got layers and layers of fishiness going on here. From the AFP, from the ISD, and then your local newspapers who decided to push this agenda, seemingly all at once, really coordinated. Isn't that funny? So yes, that in a nutshell is my video for today. It's a really big nutshell, but I appreciate that if you are still listening now, you've watched most of this video, and I'm very, very grateful. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be back. I'll be doing more videos. Thank you, and see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.